is like very important, and like
Okay.
the idea also. I mean, and also I guess like sometimes your target prio isn't like it's not like bad, but like
Could be better.
it's not. It could be better. I mean, because like
Okay.
sometimes you'll take an angle. Like sometimes I'll see you take an angle on like Reaper or something, where like you'll have access to the backline or to the other DPS and the tank, and then you'll just keep shooting the tank when you could just like two tap like a squishy from that same angle,
Yeah.
or you'll take an angle as like Cass, and you'll have a sight line on like a support, but then you'll just keep shooting like a DPS or a tank or something when it's like the support's right there. You could just two tap them, right? Like I don't know, but again, those are the kinds of things where it's like I just I know how to do just because I've been playing for so long, and I've just had so many years of trial and error, figuring out what works, what doesn't, what I can get away with on certain characters, what I can't. Like that, like it's kind of hard to teach or like just tell you how to do, and you can snap your fingers and just do it.
That's fair.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm like I'm never gonna be good at Apex because like all the stuff you know how to do as like an IGL or whatever the hell it's called, like just knowing like where rings are, knowing you know like what positions are good and what isn't. Like I don't fucking know any of that shit. And like you trying to teach me is not going to be as effective as me playing tens and hundreds of hours of Apex over and over again and just like learning for myself and just like getting that kind of practice in.
I see.
But I don't know. I mean, honestly, I would say it's probably easier to learn Overwatch than it is Apex, just from like a base level.
Hmm.
Simply because of just how random Apex is, just because of its inherent nature as a BR. Because like you can learn and learn and optimize in that game, but like at the end of the day, you're still subject to whatever the fuck the randomizer gives you. But you're not real. That's not really the case in Overwatch. So like, I think it's probably easier to learn Overwatch.
I mean, from an outsider perspective, it's probably how it looks for you for Apex. But honestly, I don't know what would be easier or not. Because I feel like I know more about Overwatch than you know about Apex.
Well,
Which isn't saying much, but
you also have taken much more of a interest in learning how to play Overwatch than I have in learning how to play Apex. I just
yeah.
really hate it. I just really don't like Apex. So like, I don't actually want to learn how to play that game properly because I just don't care. Um, nom, 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 nom. um, I don't know. I mean, I guess also I would say try like having the large like I don't know. I don't want to say like you should widen your hero pool, but like because like there's like pros and cons to like being able to say like okay I can play all the like as like a tank player. Like there's pros and cons to saying okay I know how to play all the tanks versus like okay I'm really fucking good at just like one or two of these tanks. Like and
Yeah.
that's kind of how it is with DPS too.
The
Um,
same. It's a similar thing for Apex.
um, Also, hit scans are just kind of shit right now. That's also part of it. They're just really bad. Like, other than Widow, it's really hard to get value on like Soldier and Cass and Ash right now. When characters like Orisa and Malga are meta. because like you can shoot them forever. They're never gonna die because they just have they're just way too sustain based, and they will eventually kill you before you can kill them, or they will kill your tank before you can kill them. So, like, they're just kind of not very good right now. But I mean, the easy answer is just learn how to play Tracer, and then you'll win games because Tracer's just the best character in the game. So, like, I mean, you've seen what I can do in some of the lobbies we get when I pick Tracer, and I am really bad at Tracer. But just like the general knowledge I have and the general mechanical skill I have, like you've seen the kind of crazy shit I can get away with on that character, like because she's just that fucking good. Like, but she is also the single hardest character in the entire game to like learn how to play. That isn't like Doom or Ball with their bullshit like fucking movement text that are just based in fucking bugs in the game's code and not even fucking real actual game physics. No, excluding those two, she's the single hardest character to learn and to play the entire game.
I see.
Also, learn how to play Widow, because, I mean, that character's just fucking busted. Like, until they fucking nerf that character properly, you might as well just one-trick that shit, because, yeah, you might as well abuse it while you can, type deal. I mean, that's what everybody's fucking doing on ladder right now, is just locking Widow, and just winning games, because that character is just fundamentally flawed, and the devs just don't care, so, you know.
I see.
Yeah. Right. Oh, sure. Honestly, another thing I would say, definitely like helps is like, right, if you're gonna be a DPS player, right, that's gonna be your main role, but then playing bits of tank and support here and there, like, just so you can like, I remember yesterday, I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, when we were playing and Casey and I were talking about how we're both really good at Sombra and Mei, and you were like, why? And we're like, because we're tank players. You remember that conversation?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday. And we were like, yeah, it's because we're tank players. And you were like, what does that mean? We're like, because those two characters, like, especially it was only because of Overwatch 1, but because those characters were like, so, like, they were just like the bane of our existence as tank players, because of how heavily those characters were skewed into like like messing with tanks or like playing against certain tanks, then they were like taking like a normal duel against like a support or something. We know how to play those characters because after so many years of like watching what Sombras and Meis do to us, we have just like instinctively learned how to play those characters and to then replicate what they're doing against other tanks when we play those characters. So like, and that's also why tank players are usually pretty good at support for the most generally, is because it's so important for us to know where our supports are and to know what our supports are playing and to like know, and because of that, like know what we can do and what we can't. Tank players are usually generally pretty good at support because we are so used to like being at like the whim of our supports when it comes to like where are they positioned and like what are they playing, that then we like sort of can then learn where we want to position on support and like what we should be playing, sort of.
I see.
But especially for DPS, it's the same concept, but then because DPS players usually are the most mechanically skilled of the three roles, like for obvious reasons, it's actually easier usually for DPS players to learn how to play tank and support than it is for the other two roles to learn how to play DPS, just because you can't replicate the mechanical skill.
I see.
Right? I mean, how many fucking DPS players pick support, lock Kiriko, and then just go kill 5 people by themselves, like just because they fucking can? Like, right? Like people do that all the time. So it's like it's like because you already have that heightened mechanical skill, you can pretty easily learn how to play uh, tank and support because there's just less to learn because you don't need to also learn how to like click heads because you already know how to do that. Like I remember like years ago back in Overwatch 1, um, this guy named DeFran, he used to be a pro player, but then he like said some not nice things and got banned or quit or something like that, or got let go or
Oh
something.
yeah, he moved to Apex.
Yeah, he's not really okay. Well, he's not really an Apex
Well, he
player,
played a
but
little. He played some Apex.
yeah. I mean, he's jumped around to a bunch of different games, but he did back when he was still playing Overwatch. He did this like, I, he did this like he made this like report sort of where it's like it's not like 100% like I guess like confirmed per se simply because it's like there wasn't really a way to like because he was basically just doing it based off of like his friends list and then like the different top like over like a couple different top 500 leaderboards back when I think it was like right when Rollock became a thing where then instead of having the one rank it like split into the 3 ranks where he did this like little research project where he basically just collected a bunch of data of like top 500 and then he basically and then like also just like asking like he made like a Twitter poll or something as well or something like that where he basically came to the conclusion that like where he was trying to basically figure out of the 3 roles like tank players, DPS players, and support players, who is the best? Like who are the best Overwatch players?
Hmm.
And basically his conclusion was it's DPS players because and his reason and he basically his evidence to back it up was like when he looked at all the DPS players in like top 500 and he looked at okay like what your main role is like whatever obviously your main rank on DPS is going to be high as fuck because you're in top 500 and you're good at that but then also how many of them were also like GM or top 500 in the other 2 roles compared to like looking at tank players and seeing how many were like GM and top 500 on DPS and support and then same thing for support and he found that like significantly more DPS players were also GM or like top 500 on the other 2 roles compared to like and then it was tank players and then it was support players
Hmm.
and it was basically like it was kind of interesting but it kind of made sense just simply because if you already have really good mechanics you can get away with less positioning and game sense on the other 2 roles if you can just kill them yourself and especially since a character like Baptiste came out right around then too it was like a lot of these DPS players would just like lock BAP and just kill things themselves because BAP was just a fucking DPS character disguised in the support role. So
What do you
it
mean
was,
was?
oh, he still is, but um, but yeah, but he also found that support players were generally the lowest, were the lowest when it came to their ranks on the other roles. And I think a lot of it had to do with Brig. Because the amount of people who got like turbo boosted because of release Brig, who's like MMR, then like because then when they did the other roles and their MMR got like split off from their support, it turns out they were actually not very good at the game, but they just been carried by Brig. Oh, that was pretty funny. um, but yeah, well, like I would say also something else that helps is just playing the other roles from time to time and sort of like seeing like learning like playing the other roles to see like how you would play like DPS from like a different perspective Like if I'm like right, like you play tank and you think, okay, what would I want my DPS to be doing right now? Like or like, oh okay, I'm playing tank and like, oh we're winning this and my DPS got a bunch of kills. What were they doing when I did X? They did Y, and then they got a bunch of kills. Like, what did they do? And then like, and then obviously like the same thing from support. Like, okay, I'm playing support, and then okay, my DPS killed a bunch of shit. Like, I'm in the back. I can see where they are more easily than like just because I'm in the back. I can see where they are. I can see what they're doing better. What are they doing to get them kills? That isn't just like, oh, I clicked on someone's head. If that makes any sense.
Hmm. I guess one other question I have is out of the characters that I do play, which ones do you think would you say are like actually viable? Like Reaper is like okay for now, Bastion bad. Like what about like the other characters?
Cash and Ash will always be viable. Those characters will never like be bad because they're hit scan DPS characters. Soldier, like Soldier is just really mid, but he's always going to be mid because that's kind of his whole point is that he's just like the mid character because he's just like the COD character. So like he's
He's
never
just a
going to be
mid character that can just be okay.
yeah, he's always just going to be kind of okay. He's never like sometimes he'll be bad, but he's never going to be like fucking S tier because if Soldier's S tier, like something is seriously wrong with the fucking balance of the game. That character should never be like S tier.
I see.
If Soldier's S tier, that means every other DPS in the game is really fucking shit. If Soldier is somehow able to just be better than all of them. But
I think they should remove damage fall off on Soldier. I think that'd be very balanced.
I get what you're saying, but they're not going to do that ever, because of cheaters. Because Soldier is like Soldier is like the go-to character for cheaters, and it's already hard enough for like the average person to deal with like an aimbotting Soldier. But if he could laser you down with no fall off from across the map, you would literally never be able to kill him. Like that fall off is unironically there just to like help do something there to just like try to keep cheaters under control.
I
Because
see.
like because like okay, if there's soldiers aimbotting and I'm on like Junkertown, I could pick like a Widow and go sit in the fucking other side of the map. Yeah, he'll be able to shoot me, but
But it
like
would take him a bit longer to kill
because
you.
of the fall off, it'll take him longer, and I might be able to hit that headshot. But if he could shoot me with like full damage from across the map, doing 40 damage on a headshot, just GG, wrap it up. Like you are never gonna kill him.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of like a bad reasoning to have that there. Then no, it's like, oh, we
I mean,
can't deal with us.
well,
Blizzard
yeah,
can't deal with cheaters,
no,
so
I agree.
like
It's
we're
not
gonna
good.
just nerf this character.
No, it's not a good reasoning, but that's just kind of the way it is because they're never going to be able to perfectly get rid of cheaters. And they already don't seem to care that much about getting rid of cheaters in the first place. So it's like, believe me, it's not good, but I think that's just unfortunately the way it's always going to be. I would be surprised if they were to remove soldiers fall off. But also, every hit scan character in the game has fall off, except for Ana. She's the only one who doesn't. But that's because she can't headshot. So like every projectile character doesn't have fall off damage, but
Mm,
all the hit scans do. So like, and that's just also partially to like because because all the hit scans didn't have fall off. There would you like the average person, there'd never be a reason to play a projectile character because like okay, if I can throw these Genji shurikens across the map on like fucking Junkertown first at that widow over there, and they'll take like 2 whole seconds to get there, and then they'll hit her for like what 20 damage each or something like that. I don't really know the exact numbers. Or I can just pick soldier, and I can shoot her instantaneously from across the map for 20 damage per bullet or whatever. So like there would literally never be a reason to play a projectile character because the hit scans would always be able to have a faster time to kill without that fall off.
I guess.
So that's like the other main reason I think. Because otherwise, fucking Ashes and Cassidy's would just be fucking smoking the projectile characters, and it wouldn't even be close because
That would make me
the
happy.
because of just travel time. Um, so yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the other reason. Um,
I see.
okay, let me put some trash away.
On my final task. Oh my gosh, new record. Oh my god. You still eating food?
Now I'm eating froyo.
I'm jealous.
My fault.
I thought I'm lactose and sugar intolerant. 2 more minutes. Unless I hit a high score. Oh well. Not a very productive day, but I am trained nonetheless. Oh. I get on Overwatch.
Ugh.
Dude, what the fuck?
What?
I'm gonna just send this to you.
Uh-oh. Space Gato? Space Cat?
Gâteau is French for cake.
Yeah, that's also Spanish for cat.
Hmm.
So that's a space cat.
It's probably a space cat. Cause fuck the French.
So real.
I'm getting on the Overwatch. Oh my god. I'll try off-rolling. Well, not off-rolling, I'll try flexing.
Well, hang on. Go to your server.
Oh god, what's happening? Who's joining?
I assume Casey bitch wouldn't shut the fuck up to me.
I'm not sure if he wanted me to play with me, though. That's the
I
thing.
don't know. I have no idea. We're gonna find out. I mean, you can just play Reaper. And you'll be fine. Like, genuinely, you can just fucking play Reaper.